You are very welcome to Global Reports here on Liberty Television, today broadcasting from our Kaduna studios. Hello to all of you watching us here in Nigeria. Even better hello to all of you watching us across West Africa, and to all those watching us live on the internet, on Facebook and YouTube. Today, as normal, we look at some of the trending news stories that have come from around the globe, and it's a busy week this week. And this time we have once again in the studio our very special guest, Professor Khalifa Dikwa. Welcome, Prof.
Thank you.
Let's see, the first story we're going to look at is the international story and Kashmir. This week the Indian government has revoked the special status of Kashmir of Indian administered Kashmir in its constitution, which is a far-reaching political move that has left the area in dispute, which has been that situation for the last 70 years. Now it's a problem. Watch this short report from Al Jazeera News.
The Muslim holiday of Eid in Srinagar, the largest city in Indian-administered Kashmir, under the tightest security in a week. Worshippers attend prayers, but only in neighborhood mosques. A peaceful protest followed. These Kashmiris are angry at the Indian government's decision to revoke their autonomy.
For Muslims, there are 2 days which are festive and sacred, and that's Eid. But this is not our Eid. We are just mourning in Kashmir.
The government says security restrictions are being eased in most areas in Jammu and parts of Kashmir Valley.
Our policy is greater relaxation and greater easing out so that people can come out and greet each other, but at the same time we are keeping a watch on the situation. If there are any mischievous elements who want to disturb peace, we will be tough with them.
In New Delhi, these Kashmiri students made the best of the holiday far away from home. They say they haven't been able to speak to their families for over a week. They gather for a feast, but their minds are on the events unfolding back home.
This is for the first time that we have not been able to go home or talk to our parents on an important day, which is not only, personally speaking, not only religiously important but culturally important as well. We have not been able to speak home. I have not spoken to my family for 7 days.
And the way we had thought.
Some Kashmiris and activists gathered in the heart of the capital, determined to get their voices heard. There is anger and frustration among these Kashmiris in New Delhi, stunned by the extent of the communication blackout that's stopping them from reaching their families, especially during the Muslim holiday of Eid. The government says these restrictions are temporary. But its impact can be felt on the daily lives of those cut off from the outside world. Priyanka Gupta, Al Jazeera, New Delhi.
This is a very serious problem in Kashmir, and I was talking with Prof before the show. In a way, it's quite similar to what's happening in Hong Kong as well. It could happen in Hong Kong. What if the Chinese government decided to revoke the special status of Hong Kong? But this Kashmir problem, it's been stable for the last 70 years. So where is India going with this, Prof?
Fine. The thing is, Mr. Arthur Brooks, what a developed country does will have a lot of repercussions on the rest of the world polity. I.e., for instance, now America is the mother of democracy and the rule of law. When it decided to pull out of the nuclear deal with Iran, pull out of the climate change and so on, it gave other countries the guts to also try. Now, with pulling off those things right now, America lacks the right now to challenge other countries. Now with Kashmir again, India also copying from China. China, why? With Hong Kong, one country, two systems, signed in 1984, but handed over in 1997.
Yeah.
1997. There is a lot of a gap in between to quietly and gradually hand over China. And with this, what happened in America and the trade war and so on, China decided to do certain funny things, i.e., with the protests, i.e., asking the administrator, the local administrator of Hong Kong, Mrs. Carrie Lam, say whoever does something wrong will be extradited, will be taken to mainland China in order to be to be judged, to be punished, and so on. That gives the impression that China is doing it earlier than necessary.
Yeah, but Carrie Lam has gone back on this.
And then, you know,
decision.
it is politics.
Well, suspended it.
Now, asking Britain not to meddle with internal affairs of China. One country, two systems in China, and you have another one with Taiwan and so on.
Yeah.
They have been used to it, and Hong Kong being the hub of exchange in terms of business and so on. This is a big deal. They would like to continue the Western way. And China...
Actually, China would probably want to continue the Western way. It's also in their interest.
And the thing is, it is about instigation. It is about destructing China, China policy. You know, whether we like it or not, all these democracies, and you compare it with China, which is not a big democracy, so to say, to also pick with just one communist party. But look at the economy, look at the level of discipline, look at the limited freedom and so on. Now with China also doing the wrong thing by saying, ought to have said immediately it is withdrawn and so on. Let us sit down and do whatever
sometimes we have to question what is democracy and
what is democracy.
Is true democracy anyway? Is democracy in the US democracy?
It doesn't. And
of course America, US is trying to undermine China by inflicting all these trade
the fight
tariffs
between China and America has brought something entirely different now with India trying to now truncate, abolished Article 370, which gave Kashmir an autonomous way. Kashmir in the side of India, and another Kashmir the side of
what do you think is behind
Jammu.
this? What do you think is behind India's move in this direction?
It is
is it to attack Pakistan?
Intolerant ideology of Hinduism. There's something with intolerant ideology from the Pakistani side of Muslim had.
We've seen this
with their own protests
India,
and so
some
on.
of the Hindu extremists.
Even the Muslim Pakistani too, they have extreme way. Look at the way they take the laws into their hand when they say a case of one thing or the other, they go into the street. So both sides are extremists in terms of ideology. India wants to impose Hinduism on other minorities, Muslim, Christian, and other Muslims alone. They are well over 180 million. Almost the size of Nigeria. And then the Kashmiri of the 370 of a thing, it means in the past, the state of Jammu, Kashmir and Jammu, used to control everything. They have their own assembly. Federal government only supervised, took over the defense, foreign affairs, and communication.
There's, of course, two parts of two Kashmirs. Indian administered and Pakistani administered Pakistan.
So at that time, Kashmir. It was a United Nations thing to allow it to remain autonomous, semi-autonomous. So that, and now it is becoming something entirely different. Now India is saying, no, I'm going to revoke it. What moral guts do other reasons will have? America will not have it, China will not have it, because
it's interesting that the West and America have been very quiet on this issue.
Exactly, they are quiet. And their own quietness is not real quietness. There's so many things happening. And then with the Brexit and so on, it means Britain too needs to dealing with Hong Kong directly and in a capitalist way. This is one. Kashmir, as it says, 370.
Well, already Hong Kong has a lot of British companies there. It's the headquarters of the biggest British bank, HSBC.
Exactly. It was based on that agenda that Modi campaigned. that will just revoke the Article 370 and make Kashmir out of it. Now, that after that particular revocation, getting with the majority in the National Assembly, it is imposed. The minorities are making noise, are not going to accept it. And then imagine a situation in which something constitutional now suddenly truncated or banished or violated by a government in power. Therefore, it means the ideologies, the extremists from the Hindu side in India may not allow the minorities, the Christian and Muslim minority, and even the Buddhists, to have their own way in
particularly the Muslim minority.
The Muslim minority.
I've seen some documentaries about the Hindus.
Yes.
If they see it, they have this thing about cow, the worship of the cow.
Exactly, of the cow.
And when they see or hear that a Muslim slaughtered a cow,
intolerant.
Then they will.
So this time around, the minorities, Muslim, Christian, and Buddhists, and others, will now tag team together and face Modi against the Buddhist extremist and agenda thing. The same thing will happen with Pakistan, now supporting the Muslim minority in Kashmir. It means, I said it earlier, that their own Islam is very, very tough.
Very.
And then next door is Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So people may travel from Afghanistan, and there is an opportunity now to
You mentioned the Buddhists, of course.
Yes.
We all know what's happening in Myanmar with the Rohingya.
Myanmar, Rohingya, now making them
trying
stateless.
to do ethnic
now they are
cleansing,
in Bangladesh. Ethnic cleansing. So the same ethnic cleansing, we have it, populism in America with white supremacists. Now all the minorities, the Latino, the Hispanic, the African Americans are now teaming up together to face the white supremacists who are in a paranoia. They are afraid of losing their numbers because they don't give birth. And then others are multiplying.
That was interesting because they had this thing in the United States about the anti-abortionists.
Yes, exactly, abortionists.
And it didn't I didn't realize it. So I didn't realize it. I realized what they were after.
Exactly. In the next
they don't want any
years,
white people to be aborting babies because they need them.
The white minority, they are going to be a minority. That is the fear, the paranoia they have.
And even now, I've got some friends here in Nigeria who arranged to send their children to they were Nigerian and from Arab origin.
Asian.
And they paid for everything. They got the permission. Then when they went for an interview, they're told they weren't allowed.
So racism is going to create a very serious problem because American people, all the minorities are likely to team up. The Christians, the African Americans, even the Jews who are not supporting Israel will also join them.
Well, they've also become a victim of this white terrorists.
What happened in the synagogue and so on. It means what we always say, Donald Trump somehow is a blessing in disguise to either
brings all these problems to points.
Mar the democracy. Democracy is now confused. So it means that may also give, say, if you don't respect the laws of the country and so on, one day, who knows, New York may decide to say, I'm going to do business with Hong Kong, or I'm going to deal directly with Britain, with France, and so on.
Let's move on. Also this week,
also Lagos. Is not far.
Lagos is
from thinking along New York,
self-sustained state on its own. Can we move on? Can we move into Nigeria? We've had a problem in this week where some kingpin kidnapper was released, was being escorted by the police in Taraba State.
It was allegedly said that
is this allegedly?
Yes, freed.
Allegedly freed by army people who shot dead the
police.
The police. They're claiming it was an incident which occurred as
they are not just ordinary police, highly trained, skillful from the IRT.
Can we watch this? Can we watch this 1 minute report from TVC?
The group of Abba Kyari. Yes.
Okay.
This is Abba Kyari. They are highly trained.
Okay.
So,
these. This is another serious problem, this time in Taraba State. Prof.
Exactly, this is a very serious loss to the country and to the fight against insurgency, kidnapping, and so on. The three were part of the team of the
IRT team,
IRT team,
led by Abakari.
highly skillful and so on.
Yeah.
This is a serious loss to the country. Again, this is a country that does not reward.
This is the team which are actively involved in attacking kidnappers.
Tracing them.
Yeah, tracing them.
That caught Evans.
But this was the group
the one that caught
they
Evans.
portrayed on
Yes.
the BBC documentary last week. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That caught Evans,
Evans,
and so
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Many. So it's a loss to us. And then this is a country that does not reward decent people who are hardworking. For instance, now that is why you find the country in a situation in which when decent and qualified, that is very trained officers are not rewarded with their ranks and equivalent of money, just like their own counterparts in other countries. So somebody with ulterior motives could be just coming to the help of the military, to the police, and so on, in anticipation of something that he is likely to do in future. So anytime such a thing happens, we'll just get a hint from one of them. That was exactly, I think, what happened. So this man was handcuffed, and you see, with the malls and so on within the system, normally they will go and catch their own prey, the target first before informing the rest of the military and so on. This is something entirely inside Jalingo, within the city. The military is meant for the borders and so on, although we know that's insurgency and so on. The thing is, how did he know when they were caught? Imagine, based on the video, they were showing all these things that they were in operation with their own vehicles and so on. None. Under normal circumstances, the military, they were trained to demobilize, just to neutralize, without killing.
What has happened? Is it a rescue by the army, or is it a mistake, or where's the blame here?
It
the
is
police don't seem very happy about it.
Too coincidental to be a rescue, because if it was a coincidence and so on, they ought not to have released the kingpin who was handcuffed. So malls, they are all over. Each time there were little misunderstanding within the military, police, and other agencies. These are things that are normal. And sometimes it happens when the field commandants and so on
police spokesman, Frank Amba, seems
for other agencies.
They seem to be blaming the army on this issue.
Of course, directly, because under no circumstances, with 2 + 2
You mentioned the fact that the man was able to escape. And he was
Somebody
handcuffed.
was handcuffed.
Yeah.
How could he have escaped? Again, killing all of them, all these people, killing them. They were even talking in the media. So this is something serious. The army should sit up now and do justice to these people. These are not just ordinary trained policemen.
Yeah, it's
highly
not.
skilled.
I know. I've seen the units in action.
One, it is a sabotage against the anti-insurgency, kidnapping, and so on, which is now pervasive all over. Secondly, they must review their own useless rivalry and interagency rivalry, which is useless and so on, as if they are not loyal to the country as a whole. They see themselves as one is more superior than others. They are not, to Nigerians, to all of us, they are not. Everybody has a role to play, including the civilians, fine. And that justice must be seen to be done, because trained military can neutralize somebody without killing him. There are ways of just shooting, even if it were somebody that is likely to run and so on. But killing them and shouting over them, and then allowing the person who was handcuffed to disappear, the answers are almost ready-made.
They're obviously, I don't think the president has spoken on this issue yet.
Will he speak?
Will he speak? I don't know.
Our president, is just like a senior a sergeant, chief sergeant. When Nigeria as a country is in a hurry, Nigeria needs multiple operations. And here we have the chief sergeant who will not do it at the right time, will just take his own time. This is a country that this go-slow of a thing is, Nigerians are not happy about it. Now 3 months down the lane, the ministers, all the nurses, and then the surgeons, other surgeons who are on training and so on, are still waiting for their own portfolio, for goodness sake. This is not right, this is not good, because it's just like a doctor who, the patients are waiting. The temperature is okay, everything is okay, but come and lead us into the theater room to operate the thing, and so that this disease does not spread. Here we have the chief sergeant taking his own time.
We have a problem. And I was talking about the police. There was a funny story I saw on the internet.
We find it difficult to defend a government that we fought to install.
Yeah, exactly. Where a British Nigerian police lady was criticised by the Metropolitan Police in London for appearing on Big Brother Nigeria, and doing some sexual shenanigans or something.
Exactly. So they are taking their freedom.
It's a funny world.
Anyway, Britain is, and Europe, they are much better in terms of freedom. Their own freedom is limited. At least they have the Queen, the respect, and so on. American freedom is useless.
Okay, Prof, our time is up.
It's up again.
Unfortunately, our time is up.
The thing is, we could happily let us just do certain urgent things. Do not have to wait, for goodness sake.
We could happily stay here all night.
I agree.
And I'd like to thank.
All of us are waiting to see the result of this thing that happened in Ibi, between Jalingo and so on. We know that those things, skirmishes, happen from time to time. But this is one too big that
we will monitor it and we'll
under the carpet.
Bring up further reports next week.
I'm not
Thank you again for my guest.
Thank you.
I'd also like to say a special hi to John Severinan in Liverpool, UK, who contacted me that he's been watching the programme in Britain, and he's actually a childhood friend of mine. Over 40 years ago, we were young men teenagers on the streets of Liverpool. So I want to say hi to John and give all my regards to people in Liverpool and tell them to be watching Liberty Television and Global Reports. Anyway,
hi to the Queens.
Anyway, that's the end of the show.
Westminster.
This is thanks again to my guest. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And this is Arthur Brooks and my studio and production crew and control room crew signing off for another week. Have a great week. Keep watching Liberty Global Reports and Liberty Television.
It's not just about the individual news item, it's all about what's behind the news story. What went on before, now and after.
We report today not from Kaduna, Nigeria, but from Liverpool in the United Kingdom. Slavery Museum in Liverpool. Dr. Benjamin.
No personal attack on candidates.
Okay, thank you very much. Ray TV Liverpool. I'm here with Chris Kerr, who is one of the team that runs this remarkable little station.
My background is that I'd spent quite a lot of time working for Bernardo Television as a reporter and producer, and I had lived in Liverpool for most of my life, and I've had a very strong interest in doing something in the way of more local television, more than the regional service which Bernardo and the BBC offer.
This is Arthur Brooks signing off from Liberty Global Reports, and have a very good week. Thank you, Saidu, for coming on the programme.
My pleasure.
And please check out our Facebook page.